Welcome back, my lovies. Welcome to the Penny Chronicles podcast. Today we have an amazing panel. My name is Laura Chavez Orozco. I'm going to introduce the panel, but Joe, who is sponsoring us?
Today's sponsors are Red Corner Boxing. Red Corner Boxing, Mr. Bobby, thank you very much. And also Sting, thank you for letting us borrow your merchandise. Thank you very much.
Thank
We
you. Thank
appreciate
you.
y'all.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
So the topic for today, y'all, is fighting rules with your mate. So,
Chiquita.
Andeles.
Yeah.
To my right, I have my good friend Christopher John Morales. What's up, güero?
Hola, hola.
Hola. Our returning panelist always, Mr. Albert Avila.
Raw.
Eso. And my beautiful co-host always, La Susie Q.
Hola, 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 gente.
Listos, guys. Fighting rules.
Ready.
Ready?
Fighting. Do we fight with our mates?
Always.
Woo. So how do we? So the topic is, how do we de-escalate a fight? When do we fight? How do we fight? So we want to discuss some fighting rules. Why do we fight? The fight, I feel, is we want to be heard. We want to be respected by our partner. We want to be understood. So when we're in the heated moment, what are some rules that you all have used before to de-escalate the situation?
Walk away.
Okay, so that's a good question. How long? Because I don't know, Susie. I don't know what you think, but for me, I want to resolve it like right there and then and move on.
And I think that's a girl thing. More, we want to just get it. And to me, it's that response. Walk away and let's not deal with it right now. But I honestly think let's bring it out in the forefront. Get it over with. Deal with it. Yeah, it's done. We settled it. But I think most important in my rules have always been with a partner is let's remember that it's you and I against the problem. It's not you versus me. We're not in competition here. Yes, we're a team. Mm-hmm. So it is us versus the problem. Let's take care of the problem, and that way we can continue being the partnership. I think to me, in my aspect, that's my number one rule. Let's forget that we're still a team after this.
We talked about that, Albert and I, yesterday as we were preparing for the podcast. Because sometimes we forget that we are a team. I know Christopher's in a relationship now. So how do you de-escalate, or how do you all, because I know Christopher, like we've been friends for years, and he always needed time for us to argue. Ugh, I hated it.
And it goes back to, I think, what she was saying as far as like, the female wants to talk about it right then and there. I think, them just being emotional beings, versus the male, being more rational. It's just is two different ways of how we go about, wanting to de-escalate.
So how much time do you gentlemen need? Like let's say it's Sunday, we wake up, we argue. Are y'all resolving it right there and then?
I think it depends.
Okay.
It depends. There's been times where, I would like to handle the situation right then and there, but I think you as a man too, you got to keep your emotions in check too,
Mm-hmm.
because if your emotions aren't in check, it's just not gonna go well.
Do you think, Albert, that it needs a day, or does it need a few hours?
I think in my experience, and I kind of like with Susie, I think I'm the type with my issues, it was wanting to fix it right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
However, I had to learn how to de-escalate it or step away, maybe half an hour. Some people are different. Others say half a day.
Mm-hmm.
Some could be overnight. But me personally, I think within an hour is what I would probably say.
Go ahead.
I mean, it all depends on the issue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could be
That's
a personal
exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I think it just depends on the reason why you're fighting. If it's something a money issue, because that's sometimes a big thing.
Right.
But if it was something like you caught him doing something, a lie or something, that may take a little bit more than an hour. It may
Right,
take
yeah.
days to
Exactly.
because of the trust issue, whatever was involved, it's steps to get there. You may not resolve right there and then. But if it's like a money issue or
Kids.
taking a trip or something like that, that would be something you could probably solve right away. But a huge issue, a crisis, chaos, that may take a couple of days,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And,
So
and I think you have to have that conversation with your spouse or significant other, where you have an agreement. Hey, if we ever get in an argument, I need an hour for this or this type of situation.
I think
Exactly.
setting the rules early
Right.
on when,
Exactly,
and during
yeah.
being totally transparent when the relationship starts. And I have done that, where it's like, hey,
Right.
all I ask you, is that just let's remember that we're still a team. It's still you and I, and it's versus the problem. We have to fix the problem. The problem's here, and you and I are here. Where it's not me versus you. It's not who's better, who's not, who's stronger, who has a louder voice, or keep that respect. Once you lose that
Exactly.
respect, pretty much you've lost the relationship.
And that's
Exactly.
why I wanted to have this podcast, because I hear when I'm out, I'm always, trying to understand people, what they go through. And you hear a lot about, well, we had a fight and it just escalated and we need to remember that we're a team. That was one of my partners. He would forget that we were a team and it's two of us. So to me, we need fighting rules. And I think they need to be discussed before the fight. You know what?
Absolutely.
These
Yeah,
are going to be our
definitely.
fighting rules.
So can I add to that?
Of course.
So I think the most important thing, in order for you to be able to resolve something, you have to be emotionally mature.
Absolutely. Keyword.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is
Yeah.
key. I agree.
Because there's a lot of people, in their 30s, and so forth, that are not fully, emotionally mature.
Yeah, I'm guilty.
I'm
When I-
me
when
as
I
well.
was
me as
younger.
well.
In your
I
20s?
go from 0 to pissed off and
You lose it.
in
Yes,
a
yeah.
nanosecond. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
How have you guys noticed that now you're centering yourself? Because it does take a lot of emotional maturity. How do you center? Because when Chris and I would fight, le mole.
Y no parece saber muy
used to-
calmaditos.
Ay,
I
bueno.
used to just ignore.
Ignore.
That's it.
And I think that's probably one of the biggest no-nos. Don't ignore it, because when you're ignoring it, it's like your feelings are not important. You're
Exactly.
not you're not recognizing that, you're not validating that person. And,
Absolutely.
everybody should be validated, but you have to maintain that respect. But like you said, you get heated and it's taking that moment to let me count to 10 before I say something stupid, because once something is said, you can't take it back.
Yeah.
You just cannot take it back. And I think that's a big problem in relationships, that you say things that you didn't mean at the heat of the moment, because we're human, somos de carne y hueso, and it's going to happen, but you have to maintain that and I think I agree with you, Albert. I think we've all matured. And we've evolved, and we've done our shadow work, whatever it is, our spiritual work or whatever.
Exactly.
That if you say me 20 years from today, oh no, I wanted to prove my point and I wanted to be, heard, and I didn't care about the other one. It's me. And it's a maturity.
Which is so immature. And the thing you were mentioning as I was doing my research, they're called cut words. You don't ever want to use words that cut to your core. You fat, I don't want to use the words here, but you fat ass, lazy,
Whoa.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, there's plenty of hurtful
well,
as
words.
partners, we know each other's insecurities.
See.
So if let's say, Albert, I know your insecurities, I will not use those cut words with you, because those are things that you're never gonna heal from. Let's fight fair. Let's get it over.
And it goes back to the communication.
Completely.
Because if you don't have that communication ahead of time, you don't know those cut words.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be able to explain that early on.
Right. And
a
so,
relationship.
what happens if, because I think all of us have been in relationships, and let's say that we have plans that evening to go to dinner with mom and dad. We wake up, we have a fight over the dishes, something minute, not anything that's, really going to affect us, like cheating or some sort of other insecurity with texting and stuff. But how do you move on with the day? Do you cancel the dinner? What do you do?
No, I don't believe you cancel it. I think, like I said, it goes back to being mature. You have to be emotionally mature to be able to handle those tough conversations and those situations. And I'm not gonna, if we already have plans, I'm not gonna sit there and take it personal. Like she said, it's not me versus you. It's
It's a
us,
team.
versus the problem. So
Yeah.
let's figure it out.
I remember we would have dinner plans and we'd argue all the way until we got to my parents' home. Once we pulled in,
You
no
shut it
pasa
off.
nada, no pasa
no pasa nada.
We literally,
And they say, right, that women know everything except where to go eat.
isn't that the
I don't
most
know.
annoying fight ever?
I think I beg to differ on that one.
Why?
Some women are expensive.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a show about that, right?
Yo
Yes.
nomás quiero mis tacos y ya.
Or women are expensive. Or like if you'll be like, hey, you know what? Let's go here. You make plans to go somewhere, and they're like, no, I don't want to eat that. I'm not in the mood for that. And then you're caught up in a predicament. Like, well, where do you want to go? But then they want you to lead. So
Oh, that's a
he
big
makes
one.
a good point
Yeah.
because us women are, yes, I know. I'm always having to make the decisions and you never make the decisions. But when we let them, we're like, I don't want to go there. Oh my God.
Exactly.
And it's true. I've seen it. It's been a while since I've been in a relationship, but I see it amongst my friends and I'm going, oh, girl. Like you just said, you wanted a man to lead and to be the alpha. But then when he's doing it, you bring him down and you're like, no, I don't want that. And it may be because, he forgot that you didn't like Chinese food and he chose that. But he may have gone through this whole thing of, I'm going to do it this. And he planned out a date just like you wanted him to. And then you go and you get upset because he chose it. So then if that's going to happen, then say, remember, we're going to go out Friday, plan it, but nomás acuérdate que I don't like Chinese. Okay. Other than that, I mean, be
Exactly.
as women, we have to be flexible to that, I think.
Because we do want them. We do
Yeah.
want you guys to surprise us.
Yes, it's beautiful.
Don't tell me where we're gonna go. I have an allergy, a gluten allergy. I mean, the other day we were just shopping, remember? And it took us we drove around. We couldn't figure out a place to eat, but it's hard. But as my friends, now my allergy. Let's say, okay, I'm gonna surprise you. We're going to just get ready. I'll pick you up. I mean, we love that. We want you guys to lead. We really do.
Yes, absolutely. I agree on that.
So another rule is, are we fighting for one thing? Because we don't want to pile on. And isn't it the best thing that we do? It's like we're fighting for these boxing gloves. They're red. They're red. These boxing gloves are red. And then, remember last time you told me that they were green. And then 2 months ago,
Bringing up the past.
Yeah.
bringing up the past.
Oh my!
It's all
And no,
forgiveness.
that is awful. I think it happens in everything. And like you said, you bring up their insecurities and you bring up. Well, remember the last time, and
Exactly.
girls are infamous for. Remember last Thursday at 6:07 p.m.
Yeah.
You said this, and it's like we have to learn to let that go.
Exactly.
Eso fue un fight that a long time ago. Let's not talk about that. We're talking about this, But then again, when you are dating somebody who's a narcissist, oh my, do they
Throw it in
learn
your face
to
from-
turn the
Gaslight.
table? Oh, they gaslight.
Gaslight.
Yeah.
Big time. And I've dated several narcissists that it's like, really? We're talking about the gloves, and now all of a sudden you're talking about the money that came into buying these gloves, and it's like you're diverting from the
They're
issue.
deflecting.
Yeah,
They're master deflectors,
Yes, they
master
do that.
gaslighters.
Or I'm gonna.
Yeah.
You're upset.
Yeah.
No,
Or
I'm gonna
they
get upset.
manipulate you.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
As long as they don't have to feel accountable, they will flip it on you. So y'all
Yep.
research narcissism, research
there's a lot on that.
gaslighting. I mean,
They'll start a fight with you just to to make it seem like it was your fault.
Yes.
You started it.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Do you think
And then
that
because you
they
get upset now it's
and do they
bigger.
fight with you because they want to go and do other things because they have other plans and it's easier to fight with you and go on and
Narcissists are
It's
by
more
nature
themselves.
control freaks.
Yeah.
They want to control the situation, and it's about power. And they don't care about the situation, what they're fighting. It's the power. They have the power, but once you take that power, you know, and how do you? And that's the thing. How do you take the power away from a narcissist?
No, you can't.
no?
It's very-
And do you continue with a narcissist? Go ahead, Chris. Have you dated a narcissist?
I mean, not that I can think of, but I know of other people who have dated, narcissists.
Yeah. Once you date one,
And like you guys
You'll
were
know.
saying, it's very,
I plead
Yes,
the fifth.
no
I plead
doubt.
the fifth.
Albert,
it's a lot of mind games, you know.
Oh,
A lot
definitely.
of
And you know what?
mind
It's exhausting.
time.
It's mentally exhausting to the point where it makes you even think of yourself like, is it me? Is it really me and not him? They make you doubt yourself. And
Completely.
and you lose yourself in that.
They
And,
devalue
and
you.
Completely.
They devalue you. to
Oh,
make
my
you feel
goodness, yes.
Less so that they can attain that power.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's a power. So, but you can take a narcissist power away by not letting them, yes, they want to be in control. Oh, no, bring it back to them or whatever. Just don't fall into it.
but does it work long term? I don't think so.
No.
No.
So
yeah.
very hard.
So this is what I think on that. So in the long term, I think people are too already emotionally invested. So it's hard for people to get out of the situation. So if they're not aware of it in the beginning, and that's when they get caught up.
Yeah, you get used to the certain
Because they
situations.
see, I think they take it, because like you said, narcissists, they like to control the situation, right? So that comes off as like very masculine,
Yeah.
so that can definitely, and it goes both ways, it,
Yes.
it goes both
Female
ways.
narcissist. I mean,
Yes.
some of the panel has experience with that.
We're not going to say who, but
I plead the fifth.
but yeah, they come in all forms. But I definitely agree. It's just, and when you were asking, Laura, do you get away from that? Like from what I've seen, because I've seen a lot of YouTube videos about
Yes.
narcissism. It's kind of like a disease. It's
Completely.
and they don't change because they're never going to acknowledge that they're doing anything wrong. I'm not a narcissist. Denial right away, and they're never going to recognize it. And there is no cure for that.
And they said to tread lightly when confronting a narcissist because
Oh,
some are
yes.
super dangerous. You may
Aggressive,
not
yeah.
want to confront them. And then I don't know if you have that feeling after breaking up with one, your body goes into all kinds of pain. You're
in the
withdrawn.
trauma bond.
It's a trauma bond.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
Completely.
I just got out of an 8-year marriage and total narcissist.
Yeah.
I didn't really know the term narcissist until I was going through my separation and I was
Exactly.
doing it and I was trying to heal myself,
Right.
Because I lost myself in that marriage and
You do.
and I didn't
awful.
realize like
it hurts.
I was blaming myself because I thought, I failed at this marriage. What did I do wrong? you know?
Right.
Which yes, it takes two to tango. Yes, I'm not saying that I didn't have any fault in that. Yeah, definitely. But when I look at what went on, it's like, oh my God, I was being gaslit the whole time. So now dating, when I have dated, I see the red
The red
flags right
flags.
away, and I'm like, oh, it stops right there, and I'm out. But like what Chris is saying, it's when it's difficult when they're in a relationship and there's children involved, there's a family involved, you have time invested in it that it's hard to get away from it.
And of course, the control with them, and I don't want to make it about narcissism, but they are controlling and they do look for individuals who they can sustain
Yes.
financially.
And they
because now they
smell
control.
you.
Oh,
They smell
but
the
until
weakness,
you get hit with one, you're like, ugh. So let's move on from the narcissism because that you know what that's a whole
that's a
show
whole-
in
that's a whole show.
itself.
Oh my God, we could go hours
Completely.
for that,
And
yeah.
maybe we do need to,
on the
make
next
the
one,
community
maybe.
aware. So how about the fights when y'all are drinking? When we're drinking? Oh. How do
Bad
we?
idea, bad
How
idea.
do we de-escalate? Christopher, how have you de-escalated a fight when you've been drinking in the past?
Well,
Well, that's why we're gonna have fighting rules.
you know, when you're
That's why we
drinking,
brought the gloves.
Yeah, right. Now, alcohol changes everything.
Yes,
emotion,
I agree.
it raises your
I
emotions.
agree. I think, and I think once you know your partner, ya sabes, okay, Albert, ya nomás tomas 6 y se te pasan and it gets out of control.
Yeah.
So going into where you're going to an event or que vamos a ir con la mamá, whatever,
Ándale.
sabes que, acuérdate, no te tomas tanto, don't drink so much. And
Don't
it's
drink so much.
that's self-control too, because you can't be telling your partner all the time what to do or be counting them, hey, 6. It's, I mean, not fail, right? It looks ugly. But I think, recognizing that in oneself is like, like me. When I go out, I know my limit. I know, okay, I got a little buzz, especially because like I'm riding the bike or whatever. Or even if I'm out, I know my limit. I know
Right.
my limit and I paro. You know what I mean? Because I definitely don't want to get tipsy or whatever and drive. And it's the same thing with the relationship. I've been with many who have drank, and my last relationship, that was the whole breakup because we were actually at your event.
Dun, dun,
And-
dun.
Yeah, and he was drinking, and it just got escalated. And when he's not drinking, he's a totally different person. But
Completely.
he transformed to where he got aggressive, and I never had seen that side of him.
Oh, that's awful.
And that was the last, first and last. I was
Because
like,
now you know exactly how to read the red flags.
Yes.
And if you notice, we are very hyper vigilant when you're with your partner and you know that one tequila shot is going to completely
Oh my
change his
goodness,
personality.
yeah.
Christopher and I,
That's why it's
No pun
hard.
intended.
A ver,
No
do
pun
tell,
intended.
do tell.
how me and Mama would look at you and Dad
Like lemurs.
lemurs. How would we turn?
Me and our father be having a good time, and then they're over there
Like that.
looking away.
They
That's
thought we
funny.
couldn't see. Like,
But you guys were on it. Like,
No, but you know what though? Like in the moment, because I know when I drink, I get too caught up in the moment. You know,
yeah, you're having fun. You're having a great time.
Yeah.
and then when that happens, it's like, damn, it's a buzzkill. You know.
Yes.
Yeah.
But at the end, when I look back, I'm like, you know what? Sometimes men, we need a woman to keep us in check, and,
Yes.
and vice versa.
But
Too,
yeah-
but it's how you go about it though.
Yes, and I agree, because let's not just isolate men on the drinking, because I do have a male friend who his wife, she gets out of control when she drinks, and oh, come on, I don't
Linda,
believe that.
Linda.
Linda's like, ni toma.
That's why I don't take her out.
no, that's why she's here, home.
Yeah, and he says, ¿por qué no van? You guys will go, oh, it's because she can't control, and like, I go, pues no. And no matter how much they have that conversation before they go out, she gets caught up in the moment, the girls, and before she knows, she's
One tequila,
5 shots in,
tequila.
5 beers in, and it's like he can't control her anymore. So it doesn't just happen with men; it's women as
So,
well.
do you think that the rules, because obviously they want to be together, right? So, is that something, and just so everybody knows, Christopher and I used to date a long, long time ago. He's in a relationship now, but we would have these issues. And before we would leave the house, I would say, Chris, either no shots or 1 or 2 shots. But back then, Christopher was younger. I don't know how you and your girlfriend handle it now. Like, do you guys have rules for?
Honestly, no, we don't have no rules. I think I just have, like I said, it goes back to the emotional maturity and maturity in general. And then just, I don't know, just me being able to control myself, that discipline, if I feel like I'm getting out of hand, and then also like if I see, okay, well, she's being a little too tipsy too, hey, I let her know, hey, honey, like,
Do you notice that it's different when you're out? And this is for everybody. When you're out and you don't have your partner, do you know how to self-regulate and say, you know what, I have to be mindful that if I do 3 shots, I'm going to be out of control? And when you have your partner, do you feel like liberated, like, she's got me?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to admit, yes, and it just depends on who I'm with, and especially if I know he's driving and he's
Yes.
not going to get as tipsy as I am. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, today he's going to drive me, so I'm going to let loose, and I'm going to have like the 2 above what I normally have and have a great time. but never like to the excess where I'm being carried home or anything like that.
Right.
But yes, I agree.
You let
like,
your guard down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Especially, and even in the environment that you're at. I know that when I'm out with my girlfriends, I'm so relaxed. The conversation's great, and we get caught up in the moment. And I'm
Right.
like, "Holy moly, I drank this many!"
Yes.
And you're going, "Oh," but I know that the way to sober up for me, I order something. Let me get some food before I go out. And I definitely don't want to show up and be stupid drunk, and then he's gonna get upset or whatever.
And what do you guys think? Like, what triggers us? Because we become totally different people when we drink. Like, why do we change so much? Is it past hurts that are in us that are?
Could be.
You think so?
Could be something that's ongoing.
Again, okay, why do people drink? Because and when I was talking to my friend about his wife, and he was kind of venting to me, and I was kind of playing counselor, and so I said, okay, but I understand, but what is causing her to drink that much? When people drink, it's because they're trying to mask a pain. They're trying to forget something. They're trying to have that own self-medicate themselves with it. And I think that's where it comes from. So sometimes I think, like in his case, I said that maybe you need to address the issue of why she's drinking that much, What is causing her to drink that? Address that, and itself will address the drinking.
And it could be past hurts that she just can't get over. Maybe there's some trauma in her.
And that's
that
exactly what's going on.
triggers her when
Because when I told him that, his light bulb went up, and he's like, "Oh my God." And I said, "Look, if you love her, if you really, really love her, then work on it. Help her. Don't just blame her quick to be blaming. Help her.
Does
Help
he
her with
know?
the problem.
He
Yes.
knows
He
where
knows the
he
issue
failed.
lies." And I said, "Help her there. Slowly, the drinking will come down because you're helping that issue." And he was just like, "Oh my God, Susie, thank you. I didn't even
Is he
occur to me."
emotionally mature? Because just like Christopher
Oh,
says,
yes.
it takes somebody who's very
He
centered.
is, and he's a great guy, and she's very lucky to have him.
Right.
Very lucky to have him, and the fact that I felt like he reached out to me because he didn't know, but probably he goes, and here comes another topic where he maybe have reached out to a guy friend, and he's like, "Nah, pues déjala, la fregada con ella," or whatever,
Right.
And I came on the other aspect. I was like, no, like if you really love her, then work on her.
Right.
Don't, if it's worth it, here's the other term, is the juice worth the squeeze? If it is, then work on it. Work
Right.
on it together.
And go ahead.
Good word.
I think it's showing support.
And so what do you do in that case?
I mean,
if
you
they
can
don't
lead
want
a
to,
horse to water, but you can't make
Yeah.
it
Exactly.
and do you give
Exactly.
up with somebody who you love and who continuously gets out of control with drinking? Or when is
It goes back to
When
what
is it
Susie
enough?
was saying. If you want to work on it, work on it. If you're not vested in it, then that's
Is
where you
the
have
juice
issues.
worth the
Yeah,
squeeze?
Exactly.
remember that in our relationships, one of the most important things is to have peace. Because if you have peace alone without that partner, then your life is better off. But if that partner brings you peace, then I feel there's still a chance to continue to fight for that. But do you give up on somebody? Let's say you, Chris. Do you give up on somebody who repeatedly does it and is not ready to change that lifestyle
I would say yes.
for your peace of mind?
Because this is my thing. There's so many people out there, and I do believe for everybody there's somebody. And if that person is not going to be able to build with me and go where I'm trying to go, and in life, then unfortunately I gotta, hey, I love you and I care about you, but I care about myself more.
Right. Beautifully said.
Yeah, beautifully
If they
said,
don't grow
yes.
with you. And I think that alcohol is, think about our past fights, y'all. It literally, most of them,
Probably 90% of the
because of
arguments.
the,
Yes.
And so,
alcohol,
you know
drugs,
how-
or drugs,
Drugs.
Yeah.
Culture is also a big thing too when it comes
Oh,
to drinking. It's,
yes.
it's not only like
Yeah.
your past. There's a lot I think that plays into it. Because like me, I would say like I drink for pleasure. Like, hey, I had a long week, and all right, cool. I want to go have some drinks. I got into a point now though where I don't have the same craving, and it might be because I have a partner, I have somebody to come home to. So just different lifestyle.
That's a good point.
do you guys think that, how when we drink, a ver, Joe, you know how when we drink, we say things that are so dumbfounded. And in Spanish, they say, el borracho siempre dice la verdad. But I've said some really ignorant stuff when I'm drunk, and there was no truth to that. But what do you guys think? Does that make sense in English?
Also, another thing too, the way I look at it, if I know the person's intention, if I know their true intention, and hey, they're drunk, they're just saying whatever, we're gonna talk about it. We're definitely gonna talk about it because I got to be able to draw that line, right? Out of respect and just that boundary. You don't cross that line.
It goes back to what communication you had before in the fighting rules, because if you're going to hit below the belt, then
Which is a drunk fight is hitting below the belt, and how
exactly.
awful. And I think now as we get older, we are more emotionally stable to where I remember seeing partners when I said ugly things to them and seeing their face is a face that I never ever want to see again.
Se
And you
pierde
learn
el
from that.
respeto. Like you lose that
Oh,
respect.
gosh.
And
¿Qué piensas, Joe?
Just real quick, if you are getting hit behind the below the belt, go to Red Corner Boxing. It's all kinds of
That's true. He can teach us how to. And you know what? Maybe that is one of the fighting rules. If there's a lot of tension, why not do something with your partner to release the aggression?
So I think like going for a walk, that's a good solution.
I love that.
You know what I mean? Going for a walk, or I don't know, going for a
not going to the bar, eh? You don't leave the house and go to the next bar and get more drunk. No.
Yeah.
or go to the boxing store and buy a punching bag.
A punching
A
bag.
punching bag
Yeah,
hanging in the
punching bag.
backyard. Yeah, there
So are you saying do something with your partner, even if the walk just entails holding hands, walking in the park, but not talking, but healing?
If they were up to it.
Yeah, and there's a time and place for everything.
I
So
think-
as we're walking, I don't have to start talking to you right away.
Right.
But at some point, I got to be able to come to my senses and be mature and say, okay, I'm supposed to lead in the situation. So you know what? Hey, let's just hash it out. And if they're not mature enough, then that just tells me, they're not mature enough to hear what I have to say, or, just whatever about the situation, then that tells me, hey, I'm probably with the wrong person.
That's one thing that I've always admired from Chris is that he's younger than a lot of us on the panel, but he was always very emotionally mature and in tune to his partner and your current partner, or even the past. Like, I think a man our age, like Albert, would you take me for a walk after a fight?
No, probably not. Because if I'm upset, it goes back to what I said initially. I now learned to walk away, and I need to go and cool down. I need to go work on myself first, so that I can come back and then calmly try to address the situation with you. Not
Yeah.
continue the battle with you.
No.
Or because if you're there with me and I'm upset at you, then you're defeating the purpose.
And that's what the research said as I was researching for the podcast. It says, detach a little from the fight, go center yourself, do something to when you come back to the fight. Like for me, it would be the gym. Like I'd be like, I'm going to the gym. But that can also cause a lot of like, you're leaving. And but that for
And
me,
you can just say, hey, babe, I'm going to go to the backyard and cut the grass so I can cool
Ándale,
down.
cool down.
Because
Let's
when you
revisit,
and drink a beer.
and
there you go.
beer,
But
yeah.
like
A couple
I agree
shots.
with what Chris and you were saying, and it comes back to when you go out and do a walk, nature, believe it or not, it's very healing. When you're one with, you could even go walk in the park, take your shoes off when you're literally grounding yourself. And it's a very healing. People don't believe that. I'm all about that. But and then I agree with what you're saying. You go to the gym. What happens when you go to the gym? What are you releasing?
exactly,
anxiety.
completely.
You're releasing those endorphins
Completely.
that calm you down, and it does help. It's like you're a social worker, so the counselors tell you, what is it that you can do? Was go work out, go punch it, because it releases those endorphins to calm you down. So all of that works. I agree. I
Even dinner,
definitely agree.
Even dinner.
A dinner?
Yeah.
You go and have dinner. Like I said, you sit down, you have a beer, have a glass of wine, and then you start talking about whatever it is. That's
Whatever it is.
Even though you're
Well,
hoping, I hope you choke on it.
Yeah, that's what I was about to
Choke
say.
on that chicken.
Would you do that if you're pissed off at each other?
I think it depends on the circumstance.
I
think
would.
Because if I'm pissed at you for a certain reason,
I might go eat by myself.
You're like, get in the car now. We're gonna go have a steak.
But imagine being outside the home in a different setting, a different environment. Let's say we already had dinner plans,
Okay.
and 5 o'clock hits and reservations, we have reservations. Do we go or do we cancel?
That's a different situation. I mean,
But the reservations can get canceled.
yeah, they
but
can
let's
get
say this is
rescheduled.
it's a
Like a
date
family
night.
dinner.
it depends on
Well,
the
just a
dynamic.
one-on-one.
Depends on the dynamic. I mean, if we're upset because I slammed the door too hard, vice, are you upset because I cheated on you?
No,
It's too
Yeah, it's
total.
too-
It
yeah.
depends on what
Completely.
it depends on what that
yeah.
argument is.
Let's say it's the door
If it's
slamming,
something petty, I mean,
and because of
Like-
let's say you come home and you slam the door, but I got pissed off at you 2 days prior. It's not so much about the door. It's because we never resolved the first fight. So I think that these things need to be resolved because now I'm still pissed. So you come in, slam the door, and I'm still
right.
like,
so then you get pissed, I get pissed.
yeah, y ya valió madre el dinner.
Exactly. So now that's why I say you walk away, cool down, then come back.
But so you wouldn't go on that dinner date?
Probably not. No. Or I mean,
Oh,
at least
porque a
try-
veces se te quitan las ganas, ¿no? Like, ya ni quiero ni
yeah.
comer.
Sí.
Ya ni quiero ni
there is-
comer.
there
Yeah.
I think there's different ways to go about it.
Yeah.
there
You know,
is.
It comes down
and
to
the
how
type of
healthy
person
is
you
the
are. Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah.
It comes down
Completely.
to healthy relationship. If you're in a healthy relationship, more than likely you're going to solve that, no issues, whatever. Like he says, you go out and then you know what? Instead of going to dinner at 7, we're going to go like at 8:30 because by the time I come down, okay, whatever. And that's a healthy relationship. But when you're not in a healthy relationship, chances are you're not going to go to dinner or breakfast.
Or get a
ask
squeeze at
her-
the end of the night.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Joe and
Yeah.
Linda,
sleep
would
in the
you
same
guys?
bed.
Yeah, exactly.
Joe and Linda, for the record, have been married 23 years, 22, 23
Qué
years.
bonitas.
So would you want to go on that dinner? Let's say you have a fight because Linda and Joe work together as well. They truck drive, but kudos to you all for that. But
Thank you.
let's say that
Sí. No, mis respetos a ustedes, de
see,
veras.
you come home. Yeah, let's get some advice from
The
somebody who
because
really,
you guys are hearing us, but
Yeah.
you want to hear like what.
You guys are the success.
success.
Yes, exactly. You
So would you go on that dinner, or what has worked for y'all?
I'll answer this, babe.
that's how it works.
No, you know what?
Tell us what
Before I
works.
answer, shout out to the Ricky D's dance group. I would love to hear their opinions.
Oh my God,
because
because
they're
they're
so
young.
mature. And I would
For-
like to hear their side.
I agree.
'cause
For their
Yes.
age, I think me and Laura were like,
Amazing.
yeah,
We
my
were
mouth,
like-
my mouth dropped. I'm like, oh my God, like this new
Completely.
generation is coming good because our generation, I think, ya estamos chisqueados, como
they're
dicen.
probably learning
I mean,
from our
most
mistakes.
of the responses surprised me. Like,
See,
what?
Completely.
yes, and even the trust and the phones, I was like,
Qué bonitos,
and I was
¿verdad?
telling my daughter that my daughter's 23, but my youngest, and she's like,
Right.
"Well, yeah, mom." And I see her the relationship
Wow.
that she has with her boyfriend. They've been together, I think, like going on 3 years or something like that. And it's her first boyfriend. They're in their first relationship, and they work out so beautifully. They're like best friends, and I'm amazed at how. And I know she didn't get that example from me and her dad because me and her dad were like at each other's neck. But and I'm glad that didn't affect her in her relationship.
Right.
And my son has been with his girlfriend for 8 years, and it's amazing,
How-
and like what's going on with our generation.
I know.
Say, do you think they learned from us?
I think so. I think that they see it and they go, yeah, I'm not going to do the same mistake as my parents. So maybe we were that
Hopefully.
ejemplo. I mean,
Yeah.
how about like with you? Because you
Yeah.
have an older daughter, Joe.
Well, I tried to avoid the question.
Yeah, you're hiding nice.
Give
But,
us one rule that you guys have stuck by.
23 years old, you're kind of like, you learn to live with it, and you know to avoid it. Like Albert was saying, I kind of like just walk away and let it be. I'm used to this, or whenever we have an issue, and then once everything the water settles, then we start. Hey, you know what? This happens.
Yeah.
Don't do that again, or you're
Wow.
getting it
Yeah, you're getting it. In what way?
with the clubs.
But that's pretty amazing.
I think
go ahead.
I think another important thing, you don't want to go to bed. I think that's extremely important. You don't want to.
I was going to touch because I heard you say that. I heard you say that. That is a very important thing. Is one of the rules, and I did say that. Don't go to bed angry because it's just an awful thing. Let's
You know
settle it
what?
before, even if we're sleep. Let's sleep on the same bed. En que te voltees para allá y no me abraces.
Yes.
But yeah, once you start sleeping in different beds,
You know what?
I think it just changes
I
everything.
did the research and it says that that's an old wives' tale to not go to sleep upset. I do agree with going to bed with your partner in the same bed, but it doesn't mean that you have to fix it that night because emotions are so high.
I agree.
Yeah. But go to bed together, no couch surfing.
Talk about it in the morning.
Talk about it in
we
the
do
morning.
we do the north and south.
Eso,
Like-
that works.
If we go to sleep like angry, like she'll go to sleep
Right. Yeah.
Go to bed, but same bed.
But in the same bed. That's
See,
that's
yeah,
a
I like that.
beautiful rule.
And that is un consejo of a marriage, that a successful
Ándale.
marriage.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
So listen up, people.
Yeah, right.
So
North and south.
Wow,
because we're
I like
running
that.
short on time and we've got another. I just want to close up with the rules that we came up with. Okay, so it is validate your partner, show them that you care during a fight. Always validate them. Diffuse as quickly as you can. If emotionally mature, let's diffuse the argument. Don't pile on. Don't pile on. Fight for that initial thing that we're fighting for. No cut words. Attacking personal character. No cut words. And be mindful when we drink. Be very mindful of the things that we say while we're drinking. So does anybody want to add?
I think a lot of that has to do, I think, with the needs of a male and a female.
True.
So like a female needs to feel like she's understood,
Right.
you know, and a man needs to feel like he's respected.
I
I
agree.
love that.
Yay! We need the
Very good
applausos because
point.
Yeah.
that's exactly, you hit the nail right on the.
I tell you.
I'm telling you.
Christopher is,
Yeah. And of course he's younger, so I'm
Yes.
telling you, the generation van aprendiendo.
No.
I
I got
love
to
that
play
rule.
both sides of the field. So, and I've actually, I'm 30 years old. So, I go out there and I see, yes, there's a lot of mature, younger in their people that are in their 20s in my generation, but I feel like there's more immature. A lot of stuff that we're talking about, I feel like a lot of people in their 20s don't know how to handle
Yeah.
situations like that.
Chris
This
is an
happened-
old
this
soul.
happened, the people at, where is it? What was it that you guys went to?
Where?
Where you did the last.
Oh, the Ricky
last,
D's?
yeah.
The Ricky D's.
Okay, yeah.
They just happen to be mature, so they give you guys, good,
Feedback.
good
Yeah.
feedback.
Yeah.
But most of the time, that's not the case.
Right. Well, we
Okay.
want to have you back on, Christopher, because honestly, and we do a lot of talking and, we used to. Now Chris is in a relationship, but this is something that we've always been very interested, the mind.
See.
So
Yeah.
if we can have you back, that would be amazing.
Sure.
We do have to cut it short because we have another podcast, but anybody else have anything, any closing words?
Thank you, guys. I
Let's do
appreciate
it. Yeah. Thank you all.
Yeah. Thank you.
Joe. Psycho.
Yeah,
See,
thank you
Linda.
guys, Linda
Thank
and
you.
Joe. You guys are always
Yes.
amazing.
And thank you everybody
And
for
Linda.
tuning in
subscribing,
and
yes.
please, if there's comments or advice that you can give us, please leave a comment. If you think that we failed somewhere, please.
or we
Any
didn't touch
feedback,
base on something, definitely, and we can bring it up, or something you want to hear about on the next
on the next
Any
podcast.
future
You know,
shows or something?
yeah,
Any
definitely
future
let us know.
podcast that you guys think that we need to talk about. Not everybody has the community that we do, where
Mm-hmm.
we have a circle of friends. People have to do this by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a podcast that you all want us to talk about, touch base on, let us
Or
know.
maybe a guest that they say, hey, you guys need to have that person on here. Reach out to us, put it on the comment, and if we can work on that guest, definitely we'll bring them on for you.
We'll ask Linda for the approval. It's her house.
Yeah.
See. Thank you, everybody.
See, thank you.
panel. Love
Thank
you
you.
guys. Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.